Hello, everyone. I'm Peyton.
I'm Sam.
And this is Uncontrolled Population. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, indeed. Today we are getting into the spiritual. We are getting into how that has affected us, how we can pick up on certain energies. Before we get into all of that, though, Peyton, there are some things that are going on in the world that need to be addressing.
Yes. Okay, so today is June 4th. I don't know how we've gotten here, but we're here. Sorry for the late start, everyone. We are having some technical difficulties, and also I went to Vegas with Steph yesterday for like 12 hours, so I didn't go to bed till 4:30 a.m. So I'm barely here.
We're operating on one brain cell between the two of us right now.
No, literally. So we're here.
Woohoo! The most unenthusiastic woohoo ever. Yeah, we're here.
We're here. So there's some stuff going on in the world, as always, because of the U.S.
Being the US,
yeah. So what's going on right now is, for those who don't know, there's a lot of shit happening in Cuba right now. Basically, the U.S. is having beef with Cuba again.
Of course they are.
Yeah, no, literally. And this has been going on for a couple months now, where they've been having like rolling blackouts. They haven't had access to power, water, supplies. Which is obviously scary. Even if they get their electricity back here and there, it's like you got to think about people with disabilities that need machines. Obviously, like moms or children. Everyone needs power, duh. And so, yeah, that's what's like scary. So I got this info from AP News. But basically, the U.S. sanctions Cuba's president in move that adds further pressure to the leadership. So basically, what they're saying, and they're kind of following, is that the United States has imposed sanctions on Cuba's president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, along with 4 other individuals, according to filings Thursday on the U.S. Treasury Department website. The sanctions come after Trump signed an executive order expanding sanctions against the island and has been threatening military action ever since ousting Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro in January, and then offering an energy blockade that choked off fuel shipments to Cuba. This has led to severe blackouts, food shortages, and an economic collapse across the island. So another thing that Trump's doing, basically, to harm people, harm children, harm babies, harm communities. Yeah. And it just seems that every time the U.S. steps in, every time they don't like the leader in place of the country because they can't take advantage of them, and then they try to basically overthrow them or destroy their economy or basically collapse them. So we've seen this time and time again. So they're doing it with Cuba again. So yeah, I guess that's kind of some of the new news that's going on. That's been old news and new news. It's ongoing news.
The updates of what happened during January with the Venezuelan president. Yeah, they fucked up, and they're fucking up that poor country, dude. And they're just like choking it slowly. Like they're interfering with the trades and putting more sanctions on it. It's bullshit. Yeah. And like, why? Other than Trump just being an asshole, like what is that gonna do for us? We are already so far into our necks with
everything we're fucking involved in. Literally everything we're involved in, we're fucked. And this is what pisses me off, is that the amount of times that people say women cannot run countries because they're too emotional, they're too whatever. And it's like, realistic, if you break down what's going on right now, it's like there are a bunch of like high schoolers fighting and being bullies, and oh, you don't want to follow me, then I'm going to disrupt your country. I'm going to fuck over your country because you don't want to align with my country. It's like, okay. All right. And for all the people that voted for him, because there's lower gas prices, cheaper groceries.
They're eating their words right now.
Yeah, look where we fucking are now. Like, gas is literally... I drove by my work and it was $4.66.
Jesus.
Like, that is...
insane over here.
It's usually cheaper where I work than over where I lived. And so where I lived, it was even more. It's starting to come down a little bit, but I kind of feel like that's weird to me because it's not like all of a sudden we have more storage of fuel.
Mm-mm.
And so people are saying that their fuel is like basically not lasting as long. So obviously a lot of people think that they're like diluting the gas with like ethanol and all this shit. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at freaking all, depending, like, because of all the things that they've done in the past. Why wouldn't they?
Right.
And like you said, like, where is the extra storage of this oil coming from? Because we don't just, I mean, granted, I think that we do have some reserves, but I think those reserves are reserved for the elite.
We're burning through that like no one's fucking business.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate as fuck, but
yeah.
very, very much stereotypical for the time and age that we're currently living in.
Yeah.
Which isn't the best.
It's like we knew this bullshit was going to happen and we were going to be here with this fucking idiot as a president because we've seen time and time again, he's literally ruined every fucking business he's ever had. So the fact that people thought he was going to take America and run it like a business, like he literally did, like his other businesses, and ran them into the ground. He's now running the United States into the ground.
Yeah.
So, yeah, how anyone thinks he's doing anything good is just beyond fucking me, but...
And they are beyond help.
Yeah. No, literally.
Well, I'm going to lighten the mood a little bit.
What's some good news, Sam?
So, Papua New Guinea set up a new protected ocean, I should say, the size of the UK, which is over 77,000 square miles. It says, in the legendary Coral Triangle, where the Pacific and Indian Oceans meet, 200,000 square kilometers of tropical sea will be off limits to fishing thanks to bold conservation actions by Papua New Guinea. A newly designated Western Manus Marine Protected Area, Manus Marine Protected Area, MPA for short, will form part of the newly established Melanesian Ocean Corridor of reserves, a network of national and jointly managed protected areas spanning Fiji, Vanuatu, and Papua New Guinea. So that's really awesome. The conservation is actually starting to like have a little bit of a hold.
Yeah.
That makes me really happy. You know, these coral reefs are really essential for biodiversity and for keeping the chain. What is it called? The
food chain.
The food chain.
Yeah. People underestimate how much that really fucking matters because it's like that feeds the fish, which then feeds other animals, which feeds what people eat. Yeah. And it's a very, anything disrupting that fucks up our food supply, and the ocean's natural habitat.
And the fact that this is like off limits, I don't know what that entails, if like you can't swim in it.
Okay.
Or if you can't, well, you'd have to have a boat. If you can't drive through it with a boat.
Okay.
Or if like only certain personnel are allowed inside of this community. I'm not sure. I haven't read the entire thing, unfortunately, but I think that's awesome because the coral reefs are incredibly sensitive to chemicals and stuff like that. So if the chemical imbalance is off, then all of that's just going to die.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of ocean to clean up.
And even like, because when I would go snorkeling in the past, it's like you have to wear special sunscreen for the coral reefs and because it can like bleach it. And then but there are a lot of people now, they have kind of figured out how to make these little structures in the water and turn them into little coral reefs. So it's like, I feel like there's so many people putting forth effort to, conserve the ocean.
There was a thing that I gave money to and I basically adopted and got to name a shark.
Oh, cool.
And it was like French Polynesia. Okay. Which I'm not sure if that's near Papua New Guinea. at all.
Okay.
Or Vanuatu or Fiji. I have no idea. It's
Honestly,
out there in the ocean.
We're bad with...
I'm so bad.
Geography?
Yes.
Yeah.
Super bad. But it is out there. It's in the Pacific Ocean, I believe, somewhere over there. And they're doing things like that for conservation.
Oh,
they're also quarantining these pieces of the ocean and coral reefs for conservation. And because my favorite animal is the hammerhead shark, specifically the great hammerhead shark, they are working specifically with that animal in order to hopefully bring the species back, because right now, and this breaks my heart, they are critically endangered. And I don't know what the fuck I'd do if that shark goes extinct. I'd probably, I don't know. I would not feel good. I would be like the lowest of the low, dude.
See, and that's the thing it's so weird to think about, because there's so many animals in our lifetime that are endangered, and we've learned about animals in the past that have been extinct, and it's weird to think about that there used to be so many of those animals back then, and now there's not. And like, even I know we have a couple animals in like wild habitat sanctuaries that like they're like the lost in the world and stuff, but it's just crazy to think about that. Because of humans, because of climate change, because of all these factors that we have endangered species, and
we're over here being the next big extinction event. I mean, I don't know if you know anything about this, but it's called like a thylacine, and it's called like a Tasmanian tiger, because in Tasmania, you know what I'm talking about? So like I think in the 20s or 30s, like they had hunted these things to extinction because they would go in and mess with livestock. They wouldn't attack humans. They would just go in and attack livestock, and the farmers declared war and offered bounties on their heads and then just hunted them to extinction, which is really, really fucked.
See, and even like people don't know, but the white settlers that came in and destroyed like Native American communities, like they came and specifically killed hundreds of thousands of buffalo. Like there's this one picture that literally like makes my stomach sick, but it's all the buffalo skulls in one fucking picture, and there's like thousands and thousands and thousands.
Insane.
And so it's like they literally fucked up an entire food resource that helps a people solely because they wanted to be fucked up and fuck with a group of people. And it's just like
flex their like power.
And it's just like
to extinction.
Yes.
Every single last one of them. It's disgusting. I've always had an issue with this thing, but I'm really, really glad that there's more work for conservation of the species that we do have.
I agree.
Like, seriously, if that helps to protect that shark, I am elated. That's really awesome. And the coral reefs, the biodiversity of fish, the algae are going to benefit that too. The bigger creatures that live in that part of the ocean. It's just a good thing. We need more of that. So shout out. Papua New Guinea. Thank you so much for setting up a UK sized protection area. That's awesome. The UK isn't small. But all right, we're gonna transfer over to some spirituality talk, and I think that's a great way to segue, because all these coral reefs have so much energy. I'm sure that they have. I don't know. You said that you snorkeled at a coral reef before. Have you? What did you feel like when you were down there? Like, were you serene? Like,
no, honestly, it's one of those really fucking cool things, because it's just like, honestly, it's magical. Like, I've been snorkeling a couple times. I come from a family where it's like my mom loves the fucking beach. So growing up, we were going to the beach as much as she could get us to the beach. And I've snorkeled in Kauai. We did some in Belize. Belize was really cool. We're actually going to Belize in end of January, I think, next year. And I think we're going to do that again. I did see that Belize has the second largest like coral reef situation going on. I think the first one is the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. But no, it's just so fucking cool. And I feel like going to places where they come from more of a indigenous thought process as far as like making sure things stay healthy, doing it the proper way. I feel like, yeah, you feel like the energy of the ocean feels very taken care of. Like, I don't know, it was just cool. For me personally, I have a lot of sensory issues and stuff, so I do like going snorkeling because it's like I can't hear things. I'm just in the ocean. I'm doing my own little thing. We did get to do some snorkeling with these one sharks in Belize. Ooh. And they kind of remind me of like those sucker fish that people have in their fish tank to like clean it.
Were they nurse sharks?
Yes, it's that sharks? On like a bigger scale. Yeah. So we got to do that. That was really cool. And we got to like feed them a little bit. They like chum the waters.
Yeah. Nurse sharks are really nice, especially for like getting to first getting to like interact with sharks in the snorkeling realm. I've seen them a lot. They're cute.
They're cute. And so yeah, honestly, I'm really excited because like me, my sister, Steph, her man, my mom's man, and then his daughter and her man, we're all going together. So we're gonna do snorkeling, and then like all of our partners really haven't done kind of stuff like that before. So I'm excited. But yeah, it's just like, honestly, I feel like Belize is one of those places that I tell people like, it's super fucking cool to go there. Their national language is English, so it's really easy to get around. Nice. The people are amazing. There's San Pedro Island, which that one's way more built up. People drive around in golf carts there.
Oh, cool.
There's not like a ton of cars on the island, but I personally love Caye Caulker better. It's a smaller island. Honestly, that one, there's a couple golf carts. I don't even know if you can rent a golf cart there. We're going to look into that. But that one, you could like walk most places or take your bike. They do have a ferry now that goes from the south side of the island to the north side of the island. But yeah, it was super easy to get there, super easy to navigate. Once you're there, I would say it's pretty cheap. As far as like accommodations and food. The food is some of the best food I think I've ever had. But yeah, the energy there was honestly amazing. And we talked to some of the locals and stuff. And it was actually cool. The last time we went, we were walking to go. They had this place to go pet stingrays.
Oh, yeah.
And feed stingrays. They literally come up right fucking there and you can pet them. And they're like wild.
They're wild.
They're wild.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
They just like come up, but they know they get food over on this like little thing. So that was really cool. But yeah, on the way there, we were walking and we ran into some of these dudes and we were just talking to them for a bit. Because there was like something in the water and they were trying to show people passing by like, oh, look at what's in the water. And then we were talking to them and then they ended up having weed. So we smoked with them for a bit. One of the locals tried my hash pen. That was kind of funny because like obviously they don't have that there.
Did the other local
he did. The other locals were like, no. Like I think they thought it was like too harsh, but yeah, the one guy was ripping it. It was kind of funny.
Oh god.
But yeah, like the people there are fucking awesome. But we were like, oh, would you ever want to move anywhere else? They're like, no, we love it here. And I'm like, yeah, that clocks. I love it here too. But yeah, no, going back to like the spirituality, the energy part of the ocean, like it just feels so serene. And even like back then they thought there's like healing properties being in the ocean and stuff for your body, and it is actually really good. Obviously you want to moisturize after, but like for your skin conditions, I will say as a hairstylist, salt water is not that good for your hair.
Oh no.
So if you have color treated hair or bleached hair,
don't go to a coral reef, please.
Yeah. You got to do some extra protections. But yeah, no, it's just, I love snorkeling. It just, the energy is very neutral and it's very calming. And like, obviously the natural waves is very relaxing.
Do you remember at one point we talked about like running water having negative ions? Was that a thing that you and I talked about? So
I
like,
don't remember now.
When you're in the mountains and you stumble across a creek or like a river, where the water is churning a lot and it's like choppy water, there's like negative ions that apparently get released that help you to feel better. And I wonder if there's a correlation there too.
Yeah.
Because you said when the waves crash, and that's the thing.
And it's like the movement and okay, that's very interesting. I didn't even,
I thought it was you that told me that too, but somebody else maybe.
Maybe somebody else, because I know that in hair, the negative and positive ions, like some heat tools will have it, and it helps like smooth out the hair, and helps get rid of static and stuff. So I know in hair that's a thing, but yeah, in water, okay, that's interesting, because they do say water holds like memory, and yeah, water is very spiritual.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why it's like my element. There's a lot to it. Not just power, not just like repetition, but just, I don't know, it goes into flow state as well too.
It could be soft, it could be hard, it could be scary, it could be calm, like, yeah.
That's why it's my favorite element. It's just so versatile.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people burn for spiritual practices too, and the release of like smoke. When we sage, that's the use of fire. And the combustion that happens releases something that purges the negative energy out of rooms. Also going with like air in the room as well. You have to have a place for that air for the smoke to like suck up the negative and then kind of move throughout the house with it. So usually you'd like have a window open so it doesn't get stuck or stagnant. It has a way to move through the house.
It gets out of your house, it exits. Yeah.
Or like earth when you go outside and walk barefoot. Another great way to ground.
Yes. They say when you travel that you should, wherever you are traveling to, once you get there, you should get there, take off your socks and shoes, put your feet in their earth, because it's like, it'll help naturally ground you.
Like is that a thing I've heard from jet lag? Like,
yes, it helps with that.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I think it's one of those maybe old spiritual practices. Yeah, because even like going back to water, like water is super powerful and it cleanses. Like a lot of religions use it. Like I know under the Christian umbrella, a lot of the practicing people use it for what is that? To be baptized. Also, you could do, like me personally, I like to do cleansing baths where you can add essential oils for like releasing negative feelings and thoughts. There's also like you could do salt for protection. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you could do to do like there's a bunch of recipes online, honestly, for spiritual baths to like get rid of negative energy and things like that. Yeah. I actually did one for Steph the other day because she has this ex-friend that's like, ugh. Oh no. Yeah, it was a whole drama thing. Okay. So we had to make sure we protected ourselves. But yeah, no. So, okay, so now, going back into the spirituality of it all, I would say that growing up, I was always under the Christian umbrella of we were baptized Catholic, then we were Lutheran, then we were non-denominational Christian, and none of them ever really resonated with me that much. And I remember my mom saying certain little things when I was growing up because my aunt at the time was like more into spirituality and like witchy stuff, and she had a sidekick, and I remember my mom saying stuff like, oh, that's not real, or that's not whatever, and so I internalized that for a long time. And so when I didn't connect with traditional religion, I was just like, okay, like I don't know, maybe it's not for me. And so when I was around 19, I remember starting to kind of get into some stuff and learn about crystals and learn about natural stuff. And
what was appealing about the crystals, really quick?
I feel like I liked like the physical representation of it, but I also liked that because we talk about, you know, like Earth has energy and the magnetic fields.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really cool to have like something that the Earth made that kind of helps energetically.
Yeah.
And I think at first it was more because my sister would take me to Boulder a lot with her and her friends when me and my ex from high school had broken up, and I was like really sad and kind of lost. And so we go to Boulder, and then we go to all these cool stores. And there was this one store that I still go to. They have this really cute little dog named Romeo. He's like really old. And yeah, I just started going there, and I got like a cute little necklace, and it was like, it was a rose quartz. That was my first crystal for self-love. And so I got that, and I started slowly feeling better. Now, is that because of the crystal? Was that because of, what's that one theory?
Placebo.
Was it placebo? I'm not really sure. And then after that, I started collecting a lot of crystals because I was like, oh my God, it's going to make me feel better. I have a lot of crystal necklaces, stuff like that. Yeah, and I got into it for a lot of years, and I would go to like witchy stores. I performed a couple of spells.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm curious about that.
Nothing crazy. This one other store we'd go to, they have little like kits of like stuff and kind of incantations and what you read off and yeah, kind of more stuff like that. I'm very stern on I don't like to fuck with anyone else's wants or needs or desires. So I'm not someone that's gonna fuck around and try to like put a fucking spell on my ex to get back with me or like hurt other people, or I'm a very like harm to none type person because I don't want that to come back to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of my stuff was just more about like manifesting for me, helping me, clearing out maybe old energy, adding new positive energy. So I did that for a long time, and then I kind of understand why they say like spirituality is like a practice, because it's like you just kind of have to keep doing it, and it's like there's no way, shape, or form. But I did notice like the more stressed out I got, the more, you know, stressed or whatever I got with life, that I didn't do it as much anymore. So there was a couple years that it fell off for me, and yeah, I was kind of sad because I was like, oh, like I don't buy crystals anymore and I don't whatever. But then I started really getting into the thought process of like, okay, everything that we need is inside of us. And do these tools help? Yes. Do they aid in maybe making you more comfortable, or it's a maybe physical reminder and things like that? Yeah. But I think I got maybe too into the consumerism of spirituality. And like, oh, I have to buy this. I have to do this. I have to.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you really don't. So I think once I realized like I don't have to buy anything, I don't have to do things a certain way for it to be whatever, that kind of changed my mindset. And I'm a very like take what I like and leave what I don't person. And so I think at this point in my life, I've adopted my own relationship with my spirituality of like, I use it. Yeah, it helps me, but it's not something that it's like, if I don't do it one day, I'm like going to make myself feel guilty for and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's an
but
aid.
Yeah,
it's an aid. It's not supposed to hurt you or like cause any more distress.
Right.
Never should be. Like any of your positive things that you get energy from shouldn't. That's my part of my spiritual journey and spiritual growth is that like, for me, it was music that was really killing me because I had tied so much of my identity to music that when that identity was in jeopardy, then I fell apart. Yeah. And I started to get really down on myself because I couldn't make music. But music isn't about going up to the computer and making a beat that sounds amazing in like 10 minutes, like some of these people do, like on social media.
Right.
And music is an ancient practice,
Right.
I don't think I think music is like a spiritual practice in ways.
I totally agree with that. Like, even when you look into a lot of churches, I learned we had a art history class in high school.
I remember that one.
Yeah, with Miss Hahn.
Yeah.
And we learned about how they built things a specific way, and then it would work with like vibrations and frequency. And back then they used to really care about frequency in music, and it was healing to people and, stuff like that. Where now a lot of the music is tuned into frequencies that are kind of harmful to humans.
Like A440. Do you know what that means?
No. Okay. So he is our sound tech. So let's learn about this.
So when they say A440, the 440 is the frequency of the note A, because it starts with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, so that you can tune it slightly off, which is what the old way of doing it was. I'm pretty sure it's like 432.
Okay.
Is that right? Like there's 440 and then there's 4 something, like a couple of digits off.
Yep.
Yeah, 432. We'll say it's 432.
There's a bunch of different, like frequency and like the hertz and the,
But basically, when you think about notes, it's a mathematical jump from frequencies.
Okay.
That is the note you're hearing, right? So they just take this template, right, of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they move it slightly over. So now everything you're listening to, if you're going this way to the left, it is lower in frequency. So everything is a little bit lower. All the songs, all the music, it's like, have you ever heard of a song or like an Alvin and the Chipmunks version of a song, right? Okay, so like that's the premise, right? Like that's super, super duper high up.
Okay.
But it's like on a very small frequency that you shift all that music over. And it makes a big difference because everything is tuned to A, either 440 or A 432. And then changes so, like literally that shift is so small. Like so incrementally small that you probably can't tell.
Right.
But it makes such a big difference in impact in people and how they feel.
Right.
And that's why there's this whole thing between them. Yeah. I'm going to look that up really quick, but give me your thoughts on that.
No, okay, honestly, that makes sense because there's a lot of times I'll hear, and even like, for instance, the song Ring My Bell, that's supposed to be a really good high frequency song.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
She hears the garage door. Yeah, so basically, though, it makes sense because when I hear certain songs, like for instance, the Ring My Bell song, that song is fun, joyous, it makes you feel good. They say that's like a money manifestation song. But when I hear other music, like for instance, like Travis Scott music, makes me feel so bad, icky, like I just feel not good when I hear his music.
Yeah.
And especially after the whole Astro World thing too, like it just really goes to show that it's like that energy and that music does create a different vibe, a different feeling, and then it causes harm to people. So I do listen to a lot of like high frequency music, especially when I'm like meditating or if I'm really stressed out or I have a headache, like I'll put it on and then I'll kind of listen to it. And I feel like it does make me feel better, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like you're right. Like music is one of those very, very ancient practices that I don't think we give enough kudos to because it's one of those like constant things that we've had through every society, every decade, every part of life. It's for people's joys, it's for people's sorrows. And even it's interesting when you listen to a song where, let's say you're going through something and the artist is going through something.
Oh my God.
And you really line up. You really line up with what they're saying and you really feel with what they're saying. And it's like, that's such a, it's almost like that frequency, that energy is now placed onto you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's that connection, which I think is really fucking cool.
It is. Like, the people that put their energy into the microphones for recording, the people that mix and master, like, unconsciously they are channeling things that are going on in their lives, especially the artist, you know, like if their lives are, you know, negative and stuck with, like, you can tell, you can tell between those and the people that are genuinely, like, at peace, or at least not suffering so much internally, you know, and putting all that negativity into the music.
I agree.
Yeah. And like what you said earlier about it being like something that we don't put a lot of, we don't give enough kudos to. I've really been noticing from my own little recent journey how much music is really, I don't even know how to explain it, honestly. Like, you can make it from literally anything.
Yeah.
As long as you can make it with your hands.
Yeah.
You can make it with your mouth. You can make it with objects. It's hand. Let me take a second because it's so much. What I've really been noticing is the different ways that you can go about it, called like mastery of it, or what some people call mastery over music. And when I think of like a master musician, I can think of somebody that is able to take the internal and put it into the external. Like, it goes beyond getting two spoons and clicking. It's something that even with those two spoons, if that's the only element, you can really do some amazing things with those, but like, you're channeling yourself, the things that are inside of you, what you have ingested from the world, your mindset, all that goes into music. And that is like a spiritual practice. That's why I think a lot of artists that are able to tap into that really well and really easily use it as an outlet. And they channel, and they're able to filter out all of this like stuff that gets clogged, and then it comes out in the form of this beautiful little shit called music.
No, I agree, because even when you look up, like they always say, oh, that's how you know either we're in a revolution, we're in a recession, we're in a whatever, because the music starts getting really good. The protest song starts getting really good.
Oh, yeah.
The art starts getting really good. So, yeah, it's one of those things that I really do think people use that as a way of channeling emotions, thoughts, feelings, expressions. They just like channel it into something, whatever art that may be.
Yeah. And with bringing it down a little bit to spirituality in general, I think it's like a way of living more than, it goes beyond the practice, and it comes down to like your way of living as a creative, as a self-named creative. The way that I live my life is in like that creative way. And as somebody who is also spiritual, I carry that with me throughout my life as well. And I feel like I got to a point where I was like looking at myself and what I was doing, and I was like, am I just like, is this a phase? This is a mask? Like, am I doing this for me really? Or am I doing this for other people? Like, to make myself sound wise? Or like, is that getting too old? Or like, what is that? Like, what is this thing? Because it comes up naturally now that I've practiced it for so long. It's now part of me. And even when I'm like sad, this little voice in the back of my head kind of chimes up and picks me up. When I'm low, when I need a kick in the butt sometimes, when I need like a gentle hug and gentle reminder, this thing that wasn't always there is now there. And it's with me throughout my day-to-day life. It's with me here and now. And I think that is the product of like understanding myself and understanding my spiritual practice and what that looks like. And it might not be on Maddie's level. Because when I think of like a spiritualist, Maddie is the person that I think about. Okay. And I don't practice in that way, but I still know that I am spiritual. Like the energy that I pick up on, and the way that I see things, the way that I relay information in my head, the analogies that I make, those are all like results and products of it. And I just think that it's it's something that started out really small and like nurtured and nurtured and nurtured over time, got to something that I didn't expect it ever to when I first started. And that's the beautiful part.
See, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think a lot of times we compare ourselves to what are other people doing. And when you're in a religion that has a lot of rules, I feel like it's kind of easier to know what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, it's like if you're Catholic, well, you go to church on Sundays, you have to go to confession, you do the rosary. So those are all like things that it's like, okay, you have to do this to be spiritual in this lens, whatever. Yeah. But I think it's hard when you are spiritual in your own right, of like not necessarily like looking to something, or like having like a leader or rules. It's kind of hard, because then you compare yourself to other spiritual people that see on the internet, whatever the case may be, and you're like, well, I'm not doing it like that, so maybe I'm not spiritual.
Right.
But in reality, it's really like, I think every human being can be spiritual, and it's kind of like, how do they want to go about it? So for instance, like there's this thing called like a kitchen witch. And so a kitchen witch is more like an neglective witch, like or eclectic witch, and it's just kind of, again, taking what you like, leaving what you don't. But for me personally, growing up, seeing what I see, whatever, I always thought, okay, to be spiritual, you have to do it this way. You have to do this. So I started getting involved in crystals and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And even I did for a while do tarot cards. And that was something that I was like forcing myself to be good at.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's either that's a tool for some people or it's not. Some people are just intuitive readers. Some people read from the cards, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of once I got in it from the beginning to now, I'm like, whoa, it's two different experiences. Of one, it was almost like I was unsure with myself. I was kind of, I don't want to say copying, but in a sense, copying what I saw other people do. Right, yeah. Because I was like, oh, well, if they're spiritual, you're supposed to do this, I'll do this, whatever. But in reality, it was kind of me forcing myself to do things that didn't really align with me.
Yeah.
And so going back to the whole kitchen witch thing is, I always liked to cook growing up. I feel like the past year or so I've been so burnt out, and I realized like I've kind of lost that like passion of it. And yeah, I just think obviously the world's been hard. It's been a lot of outside stressors. We kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I haven't been doing that. But what I like about it is herbs come from the earth. There's herbs that have natural properties that are helpful. I just saw a thing, which I didn't do, like, research this if you're gonna look it up or whatever, but basically the rich elite bought all these herbal schools and then shut them down. They literally bought it just to shut it down.
Wow.
And this was kind of the beginning with all the FDA shit and all that, and like pharmaceuticals. And so they paid a lot of money to discredit natural things that people, medicine women, have been doing for literal centuries, and they erased that knowledge. And so the more I got into stuff, the more I realized I actually liked learning about herbs and like what it does for you, how it can help. So for me personally, like when I like cook, I like to add a couple extra things because it's healthy for people, and it's in a sense like creating my own like little witchy potion, but for food.
Yeah.
And once I started doing more stuff like that, I realized like, okay, that's where my energy is supposed to go. It's supposed to be helping, cooking, learning about that stuff. I also feel like because I have a lot of like anxiety and I've had a lot of panic attacks in my life and just stuff like that, that when I've noticed when other people are in that distress area, for me, it's not scary. It's not stressful. It's almost just like I tap into this knowledge I already knew. because I went on my own spiritual journey with shit, and then I can then help others because they're feeling scared on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like my spiritual abilities or witchy abilities or whatever you want to call it came from a place of not something that I originally would have thought would have been witchy or spiritual.
Yeah.
And then I got this knowledge over time. It's helped people. It's helped me. And yeah, the more I do that kind of stuff, the more it feeds my spirituality, the more I feel in line with myself, the more I feel good and like, okay, I'm here for this purpose. Yeah. And yeah, so and that kind of what it reminds me with music with you.
Yeah. How does it make you feel confidently? Does it make you feel more confident in yourself and your abilities?
Yeah, no, it totally does, because I think for a lot of the years, I've always felt like other people were smarter than me. Other people knew more than me. I didn't necessarily know what I was talking about. I didn't have this knowledge. I didn't have this intuition. And I kind of constantly put my faith in other people and thought everyone knew more than me. And so I was never really confident with my own decisions and things like that. But I think the longer I've been in my own journey, learning about stuff, trial and error, it's like, yeah, this is probably the most confident I've been with myself in my own body. And just like my life and, you know, stuff like that for probably ever. Like, this is definitely the best I felt, but it's because I trusted myself. I led myself through very tough and hard situations. I was a person to get myself out of it. I was a person to find myself's light again. Just things like that, where it was like, okay, the answers were really within me the whole time, and I knew the best for myself. And then I just had to get to the point of like, okay, I trust myself to make good decisions.
And on that, I feel like what you just described, if we were to distill all of it and just get like the core sequence of events.
Right.
I think that really encompasses spirituality in my mind. And what I mean by that is, when you were first getting into it, you said that you saw what other people did and you copy them. And as people and humans, that's what we do in order to learn.
Right.
We watch, we do. Just like when you're a kid and you're a little baby and you're learning how to walk, and then you learn how to crawl. You learn how to crawl and then you learn how to walk. Right? You watch your parents or whoever's around you. So you started to walk on your own, but you walked like those who you had mimicked, and then you found out your own strut, your own stride. And I think that right there, the process of getting yourself over that hump where you compare yourself and then start gaining knowledge from within, is one of the core pillars for like spirituality.
Yeah.
And because when you were talking about like that, it's just like connected on so many different things that I learned from different aspects in spirituality. Where there be synchronicities, which are amazing and lovely.
Yeah.
But they, after a little bit, like they just started happening so much, and I just like started to be more and more in tune that they weren't like as special anymore, but they were still like there.
Yeah.
And I just learned how to like, oh, cool. And then I move accordingly, like intuitively, if that makes any kind of sense.
No, yeah, because I think, for instance, like synchronicities, it's one of those things where it's like, it almost shows you like, okay, you're on the right path. You're where you're meant to be. And then you move on to the next thing. It shouldn't be something you're sitting there and be like, it's a sign and oh my God. And like, let me dissect it. Which I did that in the beginning, but then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm on the right path. Like a little thumbs nudge up from the universe. All right, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that conversations weave into each other, and how you have conversations with some people that complement other conversations you've had, that's part of it. It's just so much, and I apologize because my brain just tries to get all of it at once. But it's I don't know. It's just something where you learn and become tapped into something. I feel like that's way greater than yourself.
Yeah.
And also that goes up over so many people's heads. Like, I guess we could call it common sense, but it's not common. It's just like a sixth sense.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you can't really, again, explain it. You can't see it with the eye. It's just like, I almost feel like the whole thing about spirituality is like finding your own spirit again, finding your own self again, because it's like you're always in there, you're always whatever, but it's like we've been taught by society, by your parents, by friends, whoever, that you have to be a certain way, you have to do things a certain way, and it's almost like your whole life you kind of have to unlearn that and then learn, what do I like, what's good for me, what gifts do I have that then I could, help other people with.
Because when you were talking about the herbs that you put into your food, that's very unique to you. I know you love cooking, and I know that you like looking into that stuff. So that is an awesome way that you found something that you enjoy and get joy out of, that you don't have to really try to go against the grain for. It's like a natural progression. And with music, for me, it was something that I had a lot of like self-tethering to, because I couldn't like understand it. But I really wanted to understand it. And I knew that I was really good at like figuring things out. It would just take time. So I stuck with it, and I'd learn little things that make me feel better along the way. And that gave me like a little bit of a trail to follow. And then as I kept going throughout the years and following it and pursuing it and learning more about it, and then also developing my own spirituality. And when those two started to get closer and closer, merge more and more, they started to complement each other even more. There was a thing that you and I talked about a while ago, like fires of change a while ago. And it was like a principle in Japanese or Asian culture where there was like 4 aspects of your life that started interweaving. Do you remember that? I don't remember exactly what it was called. But I feel like that same thing is kind of happening with spirituality and music, creativity, self-expression, and all these things are kind of, that's why it becomes hard for me to be able to like dissect one by one, because they're all so
interchangeable now,
like intertwined with each other, and it's so going on in the background, so autonomous at this point that it's like difficult for me to like isolate one without having to talk about another one, because they just like through music, I'm able to understand spirituality more. And like when people talk about that to me, I understand it by making analogies to it, and like, oh yeah, there's this thing in like music where this happens. I think I actually had a job interview a couple of days ago, and I relayed like a question they had asked me to music, and I think it was like, I think the question was somewhere of like, how do you deal with like a bunch of things being stacked on top of each other that you have to, that y'all all have to do all of them, but like, how do you tackle that? And I said, well, I have to do it one at a time, because I wouldn't be able to put as much effort and energy into all of them at the same time. I'd have to put all of my energy into like one thing and then finish that, and then have more mental bandwidth in order to complete the next task, and then complete the next task after that. If I spread myself so thin to the point where like I can't do any of them, then it's just not going to work like that. And I know, because when working with like an instrument, I have to enter like a state of flow in a way. It varies in intensity. But I know what it looks like to be on the far right and the far left of the spectrum, where I'm like playing guitar and I'm watching TV, my attention split, versus when I am playing a piece to record it. There's a lot of things that happen under the hood. There's the fact that you're being recorded that will fuck with you. And then you'll start messing up more because you're being recorded.
Yeah, and that's the thing, even with this, it's like me and you will have all these good conversations when we're setting up, when we're eating, all this shit. But then as soon as like the camera's on, it's like knowing, okay, people could be watching. It's like, it really does fuck with your perception of things. It's like, then I'll be reading and I fuck up, or I'll be talking and I fuck up my words, or my train of thought will just go out the window. And
Yeah. And somehow that whole thing is a spiritual endeavor. Like being up here in front of the podcast, it might not seem like it is.
Right.
But it is. Just in general, like projecting your energy into the room through your voice, into the microphone, and then having that travel to the ears of these folks that are listening to us. It is in a way of like a spiritual endeavor. And I guess for me, the only way that I can really speak to this ends is I've been doing it for a while, you know, and it started with Twitch. So it was a way for me to kind of therapeutically get more comfortable in my own skin and get used to my own voice and how I speak and how I talk and my little quirks of like my little jokes and all these other things, and like becoming at peace with all of that stuff and like accepting myself for that and knowing that like I can't and I don't want to change myself to become somebody that I'm not. Just because I've seen it and I want to emulate it because, you know, that same thing. When you're learning, you emulate somebody else, but like you can't let that attachment dictate your entire being.
Right.
You eventually have to learn how to walk and strut on your own. You have to learn how to be on camera in your own unique way. You have to learn how to like use all of these herbs in the world to make your food. You know, like that's the thing. And I like you learn how to do this stuff. Like
you put your own spin on it.
Yeah,
like,
you put your own spirit into it. Yeah.
Well, and it's kind of one of those things that, like, for instance, when I think about when we started Fires of Change and like I was so unsure and at least having a little reverse sneeze moment.
Oh, no.
Get these.
You got a boogie.
Hey, girl.
You got a boogie. Oh, you okay. Poor baby.
We learned this little trick that you're supposed to put your little finger or something over their nose because it's like they gotta like reset their breathing.
Gotcha.
I don't know why. She's just an old gal. It just happens. But yeah, like when I was doing Fires of Change, like it was so about the learning of it and figuring out how to be comfortable on camera. And like it was so like I had to be so aware of what I was doing, what I look like. And then the more I got comfortable with it, the more I was able to like experiment and learn how to do things my way. Yep. And yeah, even like right now I've been trying to do like Duolingo for Spanish.
Oh, sweet.
And low key, I don't like to do it around Steph because she like speaks fluently and like obviously her pronunciation is really good and stuff. So when I'm doing it, I get kind of embarrassed because, like, I don't say it that good, you know? Mm-hmm. And so the other day she was around when I was doing it, and, like, she was, like, she corrected on, like, how I said something. And then I kept trying to, like, over and over, like, okay, I'm not doing it correct. But then I realized, okay, I'm still in the learning phase, and I just have to, like, get... Even if it sounds shitty, even if it sounds bad, like, I just have to get the words out so I can start making the correlation of, okay, this, like, calle, street, like, stuff like that, where it's like, okay, now I can understand that this means this. Once I know that, then I go in with learning how to perfect it and whatever. And so I think with a lot of stuff, I've realized that even hair, when I first started, I was so stressed. And so like, I remember, so there's this thing called you have to palm your shears. So it basically means that when you're a hairstylist, you don't want to be constantly putting your shears down and picking them up because that wastes time. It fucks with the sanitation, just stuff like that. Yeah. So it's called palm your shears. So when I do a haircut, I brush the hair or whatever with the comb, and then I'll go in and then I'll cut the hair, and I have to hold the comb a certain way, and I hold the comb, you know, whatever. But when I go to brush it out again, then I have to palm my shears. So I keep my shears in my hand, and then I add my comb into it, and then I could use both at the same time. So when I first was learning how to do that, it was super fucking hard. I was like, what do you mean? I can't palm my shears. And so I remember even just like a basic haircut I couldn't do. And I remember being so stressed out about it. Where now it's like that's not even a fucking thought in my brain. Like, my brain does it naturally. It's so easy to me. It's like, whatever. Yeah. But it's like, we all have to start somewhere. We all have to, you know, be awkward, get our footing at first. Yes. So it's like, I guess with spirituality, it's just like, when you first start, you're going to feel that way. You're going to feel like, I don't really know what I'm doing. Is this working? Like, should I be doing this? And yeah, you just naturally find shit along the way that you like. Yeah. But yeah, it's just one of those things that the longer you do it, the more you find your footing, the more you like find how you like to do it, what's good for you. Yep. And yeah, it's that really like, it's a spiritual practice to even just learn about yourself and what you like and not feel like you have to worry about outside things or people or beings or judgment energies.
Doing it wrong.
Right. Like putting those positive, negative values on it. Yep. And it's just like, it's really cool to just like sit there and learn about you and what you like and then go on and do things how you like to do them. Yep. But yeah, I get you with the whole, like, everything's kind of put all up into one thing. Like, it all interconnects. It's all intertwined. Like, even for work, like, me talking to my clients, there's a lot of those things where, like, my clients will be freaking out about something, and then out of nowhere, this information just pops in my head, and I just say whatever, and then they end up feeling better. Yeah. So, yeah, that whole, like...
Probably sure that's how Maddie feels, like, a lot of times.
Yeah. Like, hers is another way of doing that. Yep. And so, now I feel like the more comfortable and confident I get in with myself of that, it's so much easier to show up in the world and feel comfortable and center. Even when, for instance, I'm talking to someone with, like, different belief systems than mine or belief systems that I don't agree with or they go against something with my morality. Like, I feel like at the beginning I used to fight with people and I used to be upset and whatever because I'm like, how do you not understand? How do you not think how I think? Right. Where now, being so in it, I can kind of take a step back and realize, like, okay, that's their shit and that's their perception. And I understand why they have the perception they do because of looking at their life as a whole. Yeah. And so it makes sense why someone like that wouldn't understand a concept. But it doesn't mean that I failed by not, like, it used to be like, okay, well, if I don't make this person believe what I believe, like, I'm failing, I'm not helping, I'm not, but in reality, that's not really the case. So it's almost like now that I've gone more into it, it's almost like my energy is directed at people that want my energy, and it's less directed at people that don't want my energy and don't want my area of expertise and they don't want to listen to what I have to say because that's where it's like that energy is just being burnt off over and over and over and over again, and there's no fulfillment, honestly, with that. You're not getting anything back. No one's pouring back in your cup, and it's draining. So now learning with whoever, relationships, clients, family, friends, whatever it is just like, okay, it's so important to pour into people that pour in back to you because it's like that energy exchange. Yep. But yeah, the older I get, the more I'm learning about energy exchanges, energy vampires, all that kind of stuff. That now I maybe don't put myself in situations where I know it's going to just deplete me because I'm not going to really get anything back from that where then I can, put that back into the universe. Good.
I think you just listed off 3 like aspects right there of like spirituality. 3 like core pillars. One of them was energy exchange. Okay. The second one was, I don't know if this is multiple or if this is just one, but to like sum it up, it's like learning yourself by learning other things. Okay. And the intuitive channeling that comes from that. Like, these are not something that I've read in the book. They're just, that's just me channeling right then and there, because those are things that I feel like are so broad that they just fit into that whole umbrella term of spirituality. And it's not just like one thing. What I mean by you're learning yourself by learning other things. I got this concept from music. Yeah. But it has since broadened so much, like through my own way of learning things and doing things and what I what goes against my grain and what doesn't, and even if it does go my way, it go against the grain for me, like how can I still do it and enjoy doing it? That's a whole one single topic that is just so incredibly deep. There's also like the energy exchange between people. Of course, we've talked about that before too. That is, something that as you mature spiritually, you can understand more of. And the more that you understand it and how you pick up on energy or how you project energy and like where that comes from, that's an entire rabbit hole as well.
Right.
And then there's also channeling all that stuff into like when you're with your clients and you intuitively have those things that pop into your head. That is also like a spiritual aspect. Like you might think like, oh, it's just natural because this, and this, like I can explain it away. But to them, they don't know what's going on in your head. And yet you manage to say the right thing at the right time to cause a certain response for that person to feel something.
Right.
And like those three are what I would consider core spiritual pillars.
Yeah.
And there's more, we've probably circled around like 6 or 7 with this entire conversation, but like I'm just like, that's me maturing spiritually, is understanding that these little things that are, okay, I'm going to mention this book again because I fucking love it. The Miracles of Attention and Awareness.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you a scenario, right? And just like, tell me what your thoughts are in this scenario. So you have a painting that is incredibly intricate and amazing and beautiful and vibrant, but you have it right here. You have it right in your face.
Yeah.
What do you see?
Well, and that's honestly, I'm glad you brought that up because it's like, when you're looking that close, you're only seeing their perspective right in front of your eyeballs. You're not seeing the bigger picture. And so you can't really make a good assessment of the painting. You can't you can't even describe the whole painting. You can't do any of that without seeing the entire thing.
Because like say your face is literally like glued to the bottom right corner of the hexapatriarchy. You would not be able to see this elegant witch or the green hex the patriarchy text. You wouldn't get any perspective of that. But as you get further and further away, you get to gain this new perspective from your environment. And like that, I think, is another, if not like the biggest umbrella term for like spirituality, is like your perception and like understanding how that like gets affected like you by like different things.
It changes your perception when you're so when you can't see the bigger picture, it really does change your perception and you're not able to make an educated guess on things or figure things out.
Use your intuition.
Right, because you're not looking at it from, the biggest picture. And that's why I think, for instance, too, even like therapy for me has been so spiritual because it's like, okay, I'm learning about myself. I'm figuring out things that I've struggled with my whole life and didn't really necessarily know where they came from. Yeah. And I would say this is the first time in my life where I finally am looking at my life honestly as the big picture, as the whole painting. Yeah. Because for so long it was like I was focused on here, I was focused on there, I was focused on there, but never as the whole picture.
And like as we become more, not necessarily like disconnected. I don't like that term because you're not disconnected, but you are getting further away from the thing.
I would say maybe disassociate. I feel like our culture has a really big problem with dissociation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you're not getting further away from it. If anything, you're getting more into it, but you're able to like see it more wholly, more fully. You make more connections between things. Like I love my client Angelo because he and I talk about this stuff all the time, but he and I share martial arts as our way of connecting, our way of moving our bodies and like channeling that, and where our power comes from, how to like roll with the punches, like how to take a punch. He studies Tai Chi. And I actually went over to his dojo a couple of weeks ago and I one-on-one with his master. And his master's a freaking like amazing guy. He had me take this like 10-foot bamboo pole.
Okay.
And only grab one end of it and lift it like from the tip and make the tip raise up. I couldn't do it.
Okay.
He's over here doing it like it's nothing.
Wow.
I am not a weak male, but I was literally sore the next day from how hard I was trying to like lift that thing up.
Yeah.
And that has to do with like energy redirection.
Okay.
You're making all of your energy go towards the end of the pole to lift it off the ground instead of focusing on where your hand's attached to, apparently. So I'm still getting used to that. But the other part was he sparred with me kind of. Okay. And the idea was that he and I kind of locked feet. I'm right-footed, so my right foot was in front. Okay. And his right foot was in front to mimic me. Okay. And my objective was to push him off balance. Okay. But he moved his body in a way and was able to feel where my energy was going so that he never got off balance. But he's over here pushing me around and I'm going, holy shit. Yeah. He told me like, okay, I want you to try it. And then I want you to try it with your eyes closed. And then I was able to feel it and not get pushed off balance. Like I felt where he was about to like anticipate like, okay, he's going to push towards my gut. So I had to angle my body so that that energy slides off my body. Yeah. And that's like martial arts and meditation and spirituality is a whole other freaking topic that I can go down. But it all kind of wraps around onto this one umbrella term of like spirituality. And that's another element of it too, I guess, or like another, not element, but like example of how that works. The album that he and I are working on, I'm going to do a little plug right now, is called When the Frog Becomes the Frog. Okay. And I love that very much because of what I've understood from working with him so much on this project. But it basically translates to like when you just start becoming yourself. Okay, the frog is not trying to be the bird. The frog is not trying to be the squirrel that climbs up the tree. The frog is not trying to be the bug. It is just the frog. It is accepting itself for itself. And it ultimately gains something as a result of that. Kind of letting go. Because it's letting go of all these expectations that's put onto it. Of like, you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to be the other. You're letting go of that. And instead you're gaining this feeling, this confidence, self-confidence of you are you. And I told Peyton before the podcast started, but I had a really, really big breakthrough moment in therapy like this week, where I was just like, I'm me, I'm okay by myself. Like this version of me right now is enough. Like I'm not where I want to be. I definitely could want more. I could be more, but right now I'm good. Yeah. As is, like all my flaws, all my fat chubbiness, whatever, like I'm fine. Yeah. I'm good. I don't need to be anything else than that, you know? Right. Like obviously if I wanted to like lose weight, that is a choice that I can make for one reason or another. But I'm not going to make that choice out of I'm not enough right now.
Right, because honestly, and I think, because I have this tattooed on my back, and it's like, be happy for this moment is your life. Mm-hmm. And I always like that because it just goes to show, like, all our moments are literally, it's our life. Like, if we're unhappy in every single moment, and we're like, okay, I'll feel better, I'll be happy when I lose weight, when I get married, when I have a baby, when I get this job promotion, but it's like you are spending your whole life waiting for one moment. And then let's say it's like, okay, I can't wait to get married. Then you get married. Then it's like, well, I can't wait to have a baby. So it's like you're constantly then moving the goalpost of when you can be happy, when you can be good with yourself, when you can love where you're at. And so you end up spending your whole life wasting it. You end up ruining all these moments because you're like, well, I'll only be happy if this,
and then you're always unhappy because you are literally tying your own self-values, your self-worth, your self-identity to an outcome or to a person, right, or something else except for you
that you can't control.
You can't control.
It's out of your control. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I feel like being with the partner I am with now, it's helped me realize, like, I like where I'm at. I'm okay with where I'm at. I enjoy where I'm at. Yeah. And even, like, for instance, me and her have had the most fucking stressful 2 weeks. It's been really fucking hard. And we went to Vegas yesterday for for 12 for just 1 hour. We just went for the day basically. And it's like, it started out really shitty. Like I was having a lot of digestive issues, a lot of whatever. The night before, we had a whole thing with our rental car where stuff kind of got fucked over with the rental car, and we had ended up paying, but they still canceled our thing. It was a whole fucking thing. And then it's like, then we pay for extra to get on Frontier early and stuff and board early. Yeah, no, we're still in fucking boarding group 4, and it was a whole fucking thing. It was stupid. So it was like all these outside factors. We could have totally been like, we're not going to have fun now in Vegas and we're going to ruin it and whatever. And I have been in relationships in the past where that would definitely ruin the whole fucking trip. We wouldn't have had fun. We would have maybe even canceled it. You know what I mean? But we realized like, okay, we're here now. We can either enjoy it and have fun with what we're doing, or we can let other things influence what's going on. You know what I mean?
I do. And as you're fresh off of saying that, I want to get your thoughts on this. Wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
What do you think? What does that mean to you?
That's one of those things that it's kind of like you get to decide and show up how you want to show up, but it will affect whatever's going on. So it's like if you want to decide to go over there and you're in a bad mood and you still want to go and whatever, it's like, well, you're there, but you're going to be in a bad mood and you know what I mean? But you're there.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I realized like, okay, you build things up in your head. Oh, this trip's going to be fun, this whatever. And then it's like once you're on it, then people had too high of expectations. They don't have fun, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And that's where you just got to be there. Just be in the moment. But how about you? What do you think about that phrase?
That you can't like escape yourself. Wherever you go, you are there. Wherever you go, you're always there.
Yeah.
So like you can show up however it is that you want, but at the end of the day, you're still going to have to like look at yourself. You're still going to have to deal with yourself. You're still going to have to fight with yourself or whatever it is. So you can either fight with yourself for the rest of your life, or you can accept that this is who you are. And you can either try to change that or embrace it.
Yeah.
But I know that one, as they love to say, the one consistent in this life is change.
Yeah.
So even if you think you are making a like decision for permanence, it never is truly as permanent as you think.
Right.
And also this other part, like I was channeling this the entire freaking podcast episode so far, and I haven't said it just yet, but like it's another little phrase that helps to kind of like it's don't sweat the little stuff.
Yeah.
Like don't sweat like how other people think of you, you know, and don't let that come back and ruin your happy experience. Like if you saved up like $2,000 or something like that for a trip, and then somebody comes along and then makes you feel a certain way, like, and you tell yourself that, oh my God, my trip is totally ruined, like it didn't go perfectly, then you're killing yourself and you're killing the trip and you're ruining the experience. And like so many people do that intuitively.
And adding on to that, I think too, when you, whether you believe in universe, the God, whatever the case is, when you have an experience and you respond negatively, you are then telling the universe that you're kind of like connecting that, and you're basically being like, okay, yeah, I'll have some more of that. You know what I mean? Or when you're like, oh my God, like, thank you, universe, for giving me this great trip. I had so much fun. Even if you didn't have that much fun, even if you know, had some stressful times, whatever. Oh my God, thank you. Like, yay. And then you're grateful for that. You have gratitude towards that. It's like, you're kind of like, multiplying that momentum. You're multiplying that energy. You're making it so then down the line you could have a better trip the next time, and you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Or if you're like, oh, that trip sucked, that whatever, then, well, your next trip you'll be like, well, hopefully that trip was better than the last trip, but you know what I mean? And so then you're kind of putting that energy out there already, and you're asking for more of that energy the more you do those things. So yeah, even because Steph's boss was like, he's been doing this like money manifestation thing or whatever. And he's like, yeah, even if you find $2 extra in your like whatever, even if it's a couple bucks, like be like, oh my God, yay, thank you. Don't be like, oh, I only found $2. Right. Be like, hell yeah, I found $2.
Yeah, perspective, dude. And on that, we kind of chatted a little bit about this earlier when we were downstairs, but say you go on a trip and you have both negative and positive experiences on that trip. Every trip is like that. Yeah. You're always going to have negative and positive experiences. What are you going to remember? Are you going to fixate on the negatives and then only remember the negatives from that trip? Or are you going to fixate on the positives and remember the good times and like, oh my God, do you remember when? Oh my God, I do remember that. That was so funny. Or like, oh my God, do you remember? Oh my, that pissed me off. That was the worst trip in my life. It is a choice. Right. And like, it's such
what energy do you want to put there? Yes. What wolf do you want to feed? Have you ever heard that story? Do you want to feed the good wolf or the bad wolf? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Which wolf are you going to feed? Yeah. And also, on a little bit of a darker note, like, what way do you choose to suffer? Everybody suffers. But what way do you choose to suffer? Do you want to choose to suffer by never going on a trip because you had one bad experience? Or do you want to suffer with having the chance of having other negative trips happen at the expense of having good trips? Right. For me in particular, in this part of my life, it is getting back into allowing other people to get close to me, like intimately. Yeah. Because breakups happen. Yeah. And after a breakup, there's a lot of pain and a lot of sadness and negativity. And that usually is a deterrent for trying again, at least for a time. But which way do I want to suffer?
True. Do you want to be lonely and not talk to anyone and be isolated? Or do you want to maybe be a little uncomfortable and get out of your comfort zone and talk to new people, do new stuff?
'Tis better to have loved than lost than never to have loved at all.
Yeah, because it's like, you got to look at too, like, how much did this person change you and shape you into who you're supposed to be? Like, it kind of picked you up at where you were in your life and dropped you off at the next place you're supposed to be.
It's true.
And yeah, no, I agree. And going back to the whole change thing and whatever, it's like, you only grow when we're uncomfortable, because if we're comfortable, we're not going to get outside our comfort zone.
It's like, so true.
Because then you think about it and it's like, you know, in your past relationship, it was like, okay, that got you out of your comfort zone. You tried a bunch of new stuff. You learned a bunch of new stuff. And then you got to a point where it was like, okay, now I'm in this new place in my life. Now I'm dropped off. You know what I mean? But now you have all this energy to put into your other projects, other people that you would have probably not had if you kept with, like, you know, the same thing that was maybe not serving you. Yeah. But yeah, even like I look at from my breakup with my ex and where I'm at now, it's like, okay, yeah, I never regretted that relationship. It taught me so much about the world, so much about myself, so much about other human beings. Yep. I'm really grateful for that experience. But yeah, from what I did back then to now, way different person. I've learned a lot about myself, again, more about other people, gotten out of my comfort zone. But yeah, change is good. It's good to grow. It's good to be uncomfortable. It's good to keep learning. That one, I can't remember. Was it? I'm trying to think what philosopher that said it, but the only thing I know is that I don't know. Yeah. And the older I get in my life, the more I love feeling like I love the unknown. I feel like I'm getting, which is funny because I used to not. I'm getting more comfortable with maybe not trying to be in control as much, learning how to step back from that because I'm like one of the biggest control freaks you've ever met. And realizing like it's okay if I don't know something. It's okay that I don't know everything. I don't always know the answer. But yeah, it's kind of almost calming to know that like it's all right. Like we're all here to learn. We're all here to go on our own journey. No one knows what that is. Like give yourself some grace.
So what do you think about this little one? Speaking of like what doesn't serve you and learning to let go of that, especially situations that you can't control. I know you like Fallout the show.
Yes.
I fell in love with it before it was a show and it was a video game. And maybe at some point we can play this game on Uncontrolled Population. But the way that Fallout works, and like a lot of different video games in general, is that you go around the world and then you collect supplies. And then you use those supplies to upgrade your weapons, upgrade your armor, make new supplies, build little settlements and walls. You just need stuff. So like you're going around constantly, at least in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4. The newer-ish ones. So you grab stuff, but there are also like these containers inside of the world. They usually have like unlimited supplies. So like a little box about this big can take like a grenade launcher and like all these other like things just because of video game logic. That doesn't matter too much. But what does matter is as you're navigating around the world, there are ways for you. Well, if you have enough stuff on you, you get what's called encumbered. You become slow and you navigate around the world at a snail's pace because you're just carrying too much stuff. Literally a game mechanic. But I took that one night and I was like, this is a really good analogy for like life. Another way of like connecting it to spirituality through a freaking video game is like I carry a lot of things with me in my day-to-day that make me feel heavy and sluggish and that take away from like my mental bandwidth and my mental in general. And with Fallout, there are like legendary weapons that you'll get. And things that you're proud of because you completed a storyline and like you get this amazing like weapon or this amazing like whatever, or you might just get like a plushie or something. You get stuff, but it eats at your inventory space. So you have to put it away. For me, that can take the shape of so many things. Like a legendary item could take it ends up just distilling to like something that you hold on to a lot because you don't want to lose it. And with this recent X, I feel like there's a lot that I want to hold on to. But it's eating away at my mental. And I don't have to get rid of it forever. Those storage containers that I find, I can put it away and then come back to it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Because I think obviously when you're fresh out of it, you're hurt, there's emotions, and you're like, get rid of all this shit. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, nothing. Like you want it to basically like it doesn't exist. And I think that's a very normal experience. Most people go through that. But then, after you've gained some perspective and time and then you look back and it's just like, okay, well, it wasn't all bad. Like I don't need to shove everything in a box. I can remember things for good times. And I would say now I have that with my two like most whatever exes of like even my high school boyfriend of like knowing things, learning things. He helped me with a lot of experiences. And then, my most recent ex, like he helped me really learn about myself, really learn about the world. And like it was a whole honestly personal shift. Like I would have never, if I would have never dated him, I would have never learned about myself in the way I did and learned about other people. And now I can look back and remember like, oh, we had some good times. We had some fun times. We did some good trips. I'm very grateful for him and like everything he taught me and like his family and everything. And like, I'll always have love for him, but it's just one of those things that I don't think we were each other's people. We didn't want the same outcome in life, and we were constantly fighting against those like core things that we both wanted, and that would clash. And yeah, it took me, because it was a year in April that we've broken up and we've been like done or whatever. Obviously it was like definitely really rocky before that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, now I finally have gotten to the point where it's like I can appreciate it for what it was, and I can think about it, and not like before it was like I just wanted it. I didn't want one thought. I didn't want to see him. I didn't nothing. Yeah. Or now it's like, okay, I'm at an appreciation for what it was. I'm happy with where my life is now.
Yeah. Like you can come back to that container and open it up for like like to look at things from like a different perspective now that you're not so like weighed down by all the other things that also and for it doesn't have to just be relationships either. Like right now I'm taking a little bit of like a step back from one musical thing, but I'm gaining perspective by being kind of separated from it. Just music making in general. I remember I used to be like super anal and obsessed about just like making music and like trying to get better at making music and learning about how to make music from making music. And it drove me insane for a little bit because I attached so much of like my validation and self-validation to it that like when I couldn't succeed at it, then I felt like crap, like I was a failure. But from taking this a little bit of a pause, I'm putting more effort into things that aid it. At the same time, like I'm reading a book called The Mixing Engineer's Handbook, and it talks about things from a mixing engineer standpoint, which I am, but I'm learning things about music making from that. Okay. And it's also affecting the way that I listen to music.
Okay.
And I didn't expect that when I took this break.
Like a whole perspective shift.
It's a whole perspective shift. Going back even further, and this kind of correlates to like, never mind. I'm going to drop that thought for a second. But anyways, when I was in music school, we learned how to record and mix inside of the DAW, the digital audio workstation, which is basically code for the software that I use to make music. Still used it, but we shifted from working with audio to working with video and audio, meaning before we would have like drums and a guitar and a vocal singer and a tambourine, and we'd make them all sound good together with just audio. We shifted over to this clip from X-Men that was of like this building basically blowing up, and then this like super fast like speedster going through and like saving a bunch of people in the building. And we had to make all the audio for that from scratch. And that's called Foley art. So whenever you watch a show or watch a movie or a commercial, there's always going to be sound effects. Right. Like the scratching of a shirt, broom being picked up, like the breaking of a bone. All that stuff is Foley art. Like somebody is behind the scenes making all that stuff.
And something that's funny to me that I didn't realize until later was that they don't use like what you'd think for like, for instance, when it's raining outside, they're not going to sound record rain outside. They like do like, it's like, it's a hose against water, and then you put that with it. It's so,
or like filling up a bathtub and then just splishing and splashing around that and then recording that, or bones breaking, celery stick, or cracking open somebody's head, get a watermelon and a hammer. That's crazy. I loved it. I fell in love, dude. I love that stuff so much. I geek out. But to get back to my point, the perspective shift, when I went over and I wasn't using my brain for audio specifically and mixing, it allowed me to shift my perspective. Either I was more open to something, or I wasn't paying attention to all the negatives and the small stuff. I wasn't sweating all the small stuff for mixing audio. I switched my perspective over to messing with Foley art, and and the dots connected. And then when I went back to audio, I came back so much stronger and with a different perspective, and it shifted the whole thing. So like that is another spiritual element right then and there. Like the more that you do, the more you learn about yourself and like how you work and how you function, and connecting the dots to other things, spirituality, food, music, mechanics, whatever. Like it's video games. Like one of the most pivotal things in video games that I love the most, because it's just shown me so much about like myself and dedication and problem solving, is this one called Dark Souls. And it's a very tough game. If you die, then you get sent back to a checkpoint. And you can throw yourself as many times as you want to against an enemy until you finally beat it. Again, it's really hard in the way that the game's mechanics are, but like I'm not going to be able to do it justice, unfortunately. We don't have enough time. But I've learned that there's this term in that game specifically called going hollow. And it's basically code for like when you lose faith and you stop hitting the play again button. It's called going hollow. And it translates to like real life in a lot of ways too, where like somebody's gone hollow on themselves. They're literally a hollow husk of like who they used to be. They've lost that soul, the vitality. And for the game, it's when you've just gotten so frustrated with like dying to the same boss over and over again that you lose your mind and, you know, you quit the game. Essentially, when you do that, you become hollow. But, you know, that happens all the time. There are little characters inside of the world that you meet that are alive and vibrant, and then they go hollow because they've lost the will to live, whether that be they've attached themselves to a outcome, and then when they get to that point and they still don't get what they want, they go hollow. That's the correlation. And like how you can go hollow, but you can also find yourself again. You can come back from that. It doesn't have to be the end, you know? You're allowed to get lost, but you can't remain lost forever.
At some point you gotta pick back up the game, press play again. You gotta jump back in, take some time.
You remember the enemies like patterns of like how this works, and then be able to predict it and evade all of them until you kill the boss. Same thing with like life or a troubleshooting problem with the computers. I like earlier today when we were having issues with the computer, I've messed with this thing so much that I was able to solve it at the end of the day. You know, I got a little caught up because I kept getting these new, like, what the heck is this? Why is this doing this? Okay, let me try this really quick. Let me try restarting the computer. Okay, well, we're now restarted. I know that that's not a thing anymore. Let's go from the next steps after that.
Like, it's like, I guess the theme of this whole thing is like, the more you learn, the better you do. Then you kind of get to a point where you feel like you don't know anything at all and you kind of give up. Then it's like, oh, let me go back to square one. Oh, wait, now I know way more at square one than I did before.
Exactly.
This is way easier to do now and figure out. And it's, I think, life, spirituality, energy, whatever the case may be, it's continuous. It's always changing. It's forever changing.
No one person has the same experience either.
No, you can't really grasp onto it. So you just kind of gotta go along for the ride and enjoy where you're at.
Yeah. And don't sweat the little things.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one.
Grand scheme of things. I can't even talk today.
The grand scream.
Grand scream of things. Because we all want to scream. But yeah, no, it's just give yourself grace. It's like the world's hard. We're tired. We're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
We're all working a lot of fucking hours trying to pay these bills.
There's a lot of things that are trying to take your attention away nowadays. That's trying to distract you.
Yeah.
That's trying to feed you information that isn't true.
Right.
It's trying to change the narrative. There's a lot of things that are out there, and there's not enough time for you to be able to like enjoy that and also enjoy life.
Right.
Or, you know, so... I don't know.
Yeah.
Any closing words?
I guess I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know a lot of stuff, and
that's okay.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We're here. We did this. We did our episode, even though we're both, you know, tired and whatever. We showed up. Another good thing, just show up even if you're tired.
It's true. It's true. But we showed up.
We
kicked ass.
We did. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Yes, indeed. And I've been Sam.
I'm Peyton.
And this has been Uncontrolled Population. See you guys, in a little bit for our season finale. Woo! Bye.
Bye, guys.